Well, today was like it says, a corporate day today. I'm gonna roll my windows down here a little bit. I'm over here at the new dealership. Well, at the new Napa store when we get it finished. But today was a go to the office at FedEx, uh, go through a few meetings, sign a bunch of paperwork. Had to do some things for the entity. We're upgrading some trucks. Had some issues with a driver. Uh, that I had a driver that had a little bump up last Friday, so we had to go address that. Wasn't anything real serious. It could have been serious, but wasn't anything hugely serious. But it was enough to draw my attention to it, and I had to go to the corporate office in Charlotte. And hey, Doug, I hope everything's going good with you today. But uh, I had to go down there, set in a meeting for a couple hours. Some things that I wasn't looking forward to, but those things happen. Uh, so I took the old dreaded ride down to Charlotte. Hey, yes, sir. Um, but it's hey, good evening, Eminem. Hey, Chris Richards. I watched one of your videos today. Well, actually, I watched a couple of yours today, Chris. Saw you had your Bobcat, and you were out. One of them I was watching you level a lot, and one of them I was watching you mow. And yeah, I've got a Bobcat T300 myself, the track loader, and I like it. It's a handy machine. And then I got that and a track hoe and a tool cat, and we used the heck out of that little tool cat at the shop. Hey, JC. Yeah, I watched JC. I was trying to. I was at the corporate meeting and was getting bored, and I flipped on JC's. I had my Bluetooth hearing aids in. I've got the Bluetooth hearing aids, and I can flip on YouTube. And I flipped on and watched JC and chatted for y'all for a few seconds while I was trying to. Yeah, yeah, my the track loader is it's a big skid steer. Yeah, yeah. I watched JC. I watched JC today to keep me from having to listen to the rambling in the meeting. Uh, my wife didn't even realize what I was doing. She was over there signing papers and doing the corporate thing, and I was going, "Oh man, this is a bore." And I didn't want to listen to it. I knew what was coming, and so I just flipped on YouTube and saw JC was out running around. I listened to him instead of listening to what they wanted me to. A little more entertaining. Yeah, yeah. I didn't get to see all of JC because they made me break away and actually sign some documents and a few things like that. So I got to see about 15 minutes of JC going up the road and hitting a pothole or something like that. But yeah, sometimes YouTube's more relaxing and can get me away from reality a little bit. But in reality, I mean, I watch a lot of you other guys' videos. Like I said, I watched Chris and watched him on his Bobcat and track standing up on that older tractor and everything scraping kind of scared me. Not having did you not have a seat on it? Rapids. Well, I think that's what a lot of us do out here. I think there's a group of us that like hear our own self ramble amongst each other and chat and everything too. JC, it it's relaxing to me and kind of chatting with guys that have some of the kind of similar lifestyles and everything that I have. I got a you yeah, that's what I thought I saw. I was looked like you were leaning back on the drawbar back there, and which is dangerous. But be careful with it. Oh, okay. Yeah, be careful out there. You can get hurt. Inside the Bobcat, you're not going to get hurt as bad because, of course, you got that cage around you. That's why I love Bobcats. They are a good safety feature. Of course, I like mine because mine's enclosed and air conditioned, and I don't get yellow jacket stings and everything else. Everything I got except for my Traco is enclosed and air conditioned, and it does make it a more pleasant work environment when you do that because there's nothing worse. And I've done it many a times over the years. Go out there and be bush hogging and get run over a yellow jacket's nest and get eaten alive. About have to jump off the tractor as it's still moving to keep the yellow jackets off of you, and that's not a good thing. But in the years, in the most recent years, I like I said, I got the enclosed cage and everything, and the enclosed cab, and I run over yellow jackets nest, uh, and they just keep on buzzing. Yeah, I like uh, I like my well. I use the heat or the AC. Both of them are good, and I've gotten out in the wintertime. Both the Tool Cat and the skid steer, the T300. Both of them are AC and heat on them, and it's great. Oh, you have one with heat? Yeah, yeah. You got one. Is yours like the one I used to have? Had real a whole bunch of heat in the summertime, not much in the wintertime. I used to have a New Holland skid steer that about made me go deaf because I didn't have a good back window on it, and I'd get out and run it. I mean, I liked it. A friend of mine, I sold it to a friend of mine, and it's still running good. It's a good old skid steer. But when I got the T300, it's miles apart, different and better, and just stronger. I mean, I think it's about a 70 horsepower. I got something like that on that track loader. It's stout. Uh, I mean, it does. I got rid of my bulldozer when I got it. And I got rid of my old skid steer, and it does pretty much what I want to do. And if I can't, I got my if it gets too rough, I got my track hoe. I can dig out some stuff and then still use my skid steer. Um, you were going to buy a new one, but yeah, a lot of people don't want to let go. Well, I had mine at the sale the other day. I just kind of cleaning off around where it got muddy and everything. And oh golly, I had all kind of people. Are you going to sell this? You going to sell this? I said, nope, no way, no way am I selling my skid steer. I mean, when it gets to the point that it won't go anymore, I might get rid of it, but I'm not going to sell the skid steer. Yeah. Well, I actually bought mine new. Of course, I ran through the company. It was a nice one. I mean, I bought it brand new. I bought all three of my Bobcat. Of course, I use it through depreciation and everything else through my business, and was able to. Of course, they've been long paid for. I've had them about probably 10 or 12 years now. I need to repaint them a little bit. They're getting a little bit of rust on the top and everything, but that's a little cosmetic work's all it really needs, and I could make it look like a brand new one again. The paint jobs are never really good on those skid steers. I don't think the Bobcat didn't. They don't spend a ton of money on their paint. I think they powder coat the casing and run it on through, and that's about it. Yeah. Well, hey, I'd love to have that great all too. Now, I'm envious every time I see you with that great all because that I'm and you may see me with one of those one day, JC. I'm jealous of that. I've been looking in the Craigslist down here and a lot of different places to see if I can find one. I found some that have some of the features, but not enough. Now, see, now the Great All, I wouldn't need it to be enclosed like you are because I don't have that much use for it when it gets that cold. Well, I mean, I may, but I could probably bear with it and everything, and not have to deal with the cold. But yeah, that is one neat machine. And hey, Matt, glad to see you in here. Glad to see you in here, Matt. I was uh, just talking about different things. I had to uh, let me see if you can guess what I had to replace on that one that the boy called in last night. Give me a good guess on what we had to replace on it today, Matt. And I know you're going to get it. We talked about it last night, but just you give me a guess, and I guarantee you probably can figure the check engine light was coming on and 900-pound lift. Oh, good gracious, yeah. Oh, 9,000 pounds lift. Okay, yeah, yeah, 9,000 pound lift. You got it, V-Pod, V-Pod, and we had just put we're like you. We just put a V-Pod on that truck, probably more than no more than a month ago, and of course we should be able to get another one. But yeah, it was V-Pod, the old V-Pod problems again. I don't know why they can't make those things better because we get some defective ones every once in a while, or like this one you go out and has yours got the Cummins in it? It has done it, JC. Your Great All's got a Cummins in it, hadn't it? Hey, Marco, glad to see you in here. For all you just jumped in here, I'm sitting out here at my new location. Got to come in here and visit it today. We didn't get to. I didn't catch that. It faded away before I got to read that one. Yeah, I've come out here. We didn't really work much out here today, but I've got some ideas. I'm gonna try to examine what I can do and can't do on remodeling the building. We got a lot of different rooms back there that we're gonna have to knock out some petitions and that sort of stuff. And so I've got to get started doing that. And I went and checked on the insulation. Yeah, yeah. I like what I'm pausing to. Hey, Lakin, glad to see you in here. Yeah, I'm glad all the guys. I enjoy chatting with all you guys. My wife said you got your own gang to talk to now, and I said, yeah, I do. I do. I got my uh, guys that are like-minded and no, I'm not gonna knock your office wall down, JC. I'm waiting on you to come down here and help me build a kitchen, though. Yeah, yeah, the faithful few. Yeah. Well, I think the people like-minded are getting in here on when we have our chats like this, and I enjoy it. I'm glad you guys are doing this because it's entertaining to me and to try to read all the comments and everything on my little iPhone. I had to read them fast because it'll pull them up, and then the ones it'll start fading them out, and they go away because I don't have a scrolling one on it, but it'll pop them up after a few seconds, and if I don't read them, I'll miss it. So if I look kind of funky, pausing. Yep. Yeah, we're old folks who we're just we enjoy it. That's why I say I like to watch everybody else's videos out there too, and I think a lot of us are, like I said, are similar. None of us are highfalutin millionaires. We're just old common boys that try to make good for what we're doing. You used to remodel kitchens. Okay, well I got some Formica. I actually got speaking of kitchens, there used to be a cultured marble place right beside my building, and they also had the guy, him and his partner kind of split up or whatever, and the partner was going to sell the building, and he had a bunch of granite, and he let me have this. They were going to throw it away. I mean, I'm talking about good granite, and I picked up. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. What I may do is just sign on myself with my other phone because I have multiple phones here. I had to carry all my. I got three phones with me here, so what I may do is just sign on it and read the chat from it, and that way I won't have to scroll so much or try to read. Oh, you used to do custom outdoor kitchen. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about doing with some of this granite that I've got. We've got a grill, a gas grill that we got underneath our deck area, and it smokes it up too much. And just want to make it out and take it out there where I got a pergola that I built a couple years ago. I'm thinking about you got 2 pallets of marble stored for somebody. Yeah, yeah. Now, Chris Richards, where are you at? I didn't catch. I was in a hurry and I didn't try to look to buy. What state do you live in, Chris? I know that I know JC's in Ohio, Matt's in Tennessee. I'm trying to Kansas. Okay, I thought that was Midwest. I was looking at the landscape and everything, and I said, by the layout, it looked Dodge City. All right, so you're a cowboy out there, huh? uh, oh, you're from Tennessee. Which part of Tennessee? Now? Oh, okay. Arkansas. Well, you're there at Memphis, Arkansas, Memphis, Tennessee. you're you're like Johnny Rivers. You're on the pole side of town, are you? You're on the Arkansas side of town. I used to when I went out there. I used to. Yeah, Memphis is close enough to do you. Are you in West Memphis, Arkansas, or where are you at, Matt? I thought you were actually. Yeah, we're all Southern boys at heart. Now JC's a Southern boy at heart, but he's up there in Ohio. He's an old redneck like the rest of us. But I guarantee if he had an opportunity to come down here and not have to fight that hard winter every year and didn't have ties, he probably would. Okay, you're in Earl, 10 miles. Okay, so you're about, uh, so you're what, about 30 miles outside of Memphis? Yeah, yeah. Well, let me see if I can sign on the second one here. Um, yeah, my mother was from Tennessee. Yeah, yeah. My mother was from Tennessee. She grew up on the. Of course, it was on the eastern side of Tennessee. She was over near Newport, Tennessee. Yeah. Well, we try to take care of ourselves and be good people down here. I think most of us do anyway. Uh, of course, that I I got. I remember the old. I don't know if y'all remember the comedian Louis Gazard that was out of Atlanta, and he was funny. He was funny as everything, and he was Southern as he could be, and he'd always talked about his Southern pride, and he talked about. He said, well, he said there's two kind of Yankees. He said there's the Yankee and the damn Yankee. And he said, "You know the difference, don't you?" And then somebody said, "No, I don't." He says, "Well, a Yankee is a guy that comes from up north, comes down, visits, goes back home." He said, "Then the damn Yankee is the guy that comes down south, stays, and then tells you how good it was up north when he lived up there." And I always thought that was funny because you get those kind of things. Of course, we'll get the old damn rebels up there too. So it's both ways. But and I always liked the smart. I I like the New Yankee Workshop. I used to be a big watcher of that, and and that and they took the Yankee name. I thought he was great. No, JC ain't a damn Yankee. He would fit in down here just great. I was just putting in the joke to what used to be in there. Don't take that wrong, JC. Uh, but that was just the joke that Louis Gazard, the comedian, used to say, and because he was talking about so many, and he lived in Atlanta and he saw so much migration to Atlanta, I think, and people trying to change him is what it amounted to, and that was his way of describing it and everything. Uh, yeah, I didn't catch all that, but yeah, it's good to. I guess the description I like to say of all the people out here, we're all we're great people, and yeah, like you say, Chris, and we're all. I say, I guess it's a lot of us rednecks, and that's about the best description. They get out here and do hard work, and do things like that. And I'm not trying to disparage anybody from where they're from. I would just kind of, maybe I shouldn't have said it. I'm not. I hope I didn't insult anybody, but it's just the way that comedian used to say it and everything. Sort of like Jeff Foxworthy and everything too. Like Jeff Foxworthy said. He said, "I don't care where in the United States you go, you find rednecks," and he associated and felt comfortable with the rednecks too. Yeah. Well, I think that's what it is. I think a lot of people this. Yeah. I'm um, I'm not going to get into ethnic stuff. I won't get myself in trouble as much as I can here. But I'm trying. I'm over here trying to do too much right now with myself. Let me see if I can find. I'm trying to sign on with two different things here and see if I can do that and read the chat and talk at the same time. It's hard for me to chew chewing gum and talk at the same time, or walk and chew chewing gum. That's the way that it says. Uh, but I hope everybody. Dang, I'm gonna get dark. It's getting dark out here. Hope you can still see me if you want to see me or hear me talk. But um, well, I'm trying to get online on this one, and this one doesn't want. That's I got it. Huh, yeah. Well, crap. What am I saying, doing here? Well, that's what happens when you're trying to do something. You can't get it done there. Well, my Verizon signal is not good on this side of town. I have to use my AT&T signal. So I guess I'll just stay away from the Verizon signal. That's kind of funny. They got the towers just situated at. You almost have to have two services in my hometown here because you go halfway across town and Verizon drops you, and then you go on the other side of town and you'll get AT&T okay. So they don't want to they don't want to share the towers over here, I guess, and give you good service in the entire town. Is my Yeah. I don't know how my live stream's coming. Is my live stream coming in through pretty good? I hope it is. Of course, like I said, it's not much to look at right now. It's getting a little bit dark and everything. And I hope. Okay, good, Matt. Now I'm glad. I've kind of learned which phone to use. My AT&T seems to do better out here at the what I call the Ford place, and clearer than JC. Yeah. Well, JC gets in to pick them up and runs around a good bit. He that's a man with a lot of errands to make, hadn't it? I mean, I see him out there running running all over the place. But that's one thing I'm gonna try to cut down on some of mine if I can have stuff shipped to me over here. That's that's uh, that's one thing that'll really take up a lot of your time is having to go get parts and everything else. And if I can condense everything I've got into this one location, it ought to be huge for me because right now I've got my Napa store, and then if we need anything from it, I've got to run up there. And yeah, yeah. Well, I like listening to JC. Whether he fades in and out sometimes, and but yeah, I like listening to JC too, and like to get informed. I don't know how informative I am. I'm just an old truck driver, and I'm an old parts guy from way back, and on an old yard switcher. That's what I initially started at. I was a yard switcher down at Carolina Freight. Used to be darn good backing in trucks, though. I could back in. I could back in with the best of them, and used to have to back. I used to have to back probably, I'd say, a good 85 to 100 trailers a night, and it was something to do. It was something to do good when you were young, but now, as old as I am, I'm feeling the after effects of it because I've had to put hearing aids in both ears, and I've had to, my back's not what it used to be because of that too. Because we used to bang up against the dock a good bit. I mean, you can imagine. Uh, we back then we didn't have the hydraulic like they use now. We actually had an airbag system, which was fast as heck. And I think OSHA actually quit letting them use this in a switcher situation. I don't know if, but the anyway, let me throw a little bit of light on here. I don't know if it's going to help or not. Let me see. I'm getting dark out here. I don't know if. Let's see. Well, that's crazy. I don't even know where my own light switch is in this new truck. Where is it? Is that one? Or is it even going to come on? I bet y'all know what kind of vehicle I'm in. You can tell. I guarantee JC knows whose chime that is. Anyway, I put a little light on the. No, it ain't a Chevy. It ain't a Chevy. Yeah, it's a Ford, Marco. Yeah, that's a familiar chime, isn't it, JC? Right there. He knows. You can tell that's a that's these are those are patented chimes there that they've got, and yeah, it's yeah, you can hear those. I can hear those a mile away, and I know what kind of vehicle it is. But yeah, I was getting back to the part when I was then the Super Duty. Yeah, yeah, it probably does. I'm not. Your Mustang has that same kind of chime, Marco. Yeah, yeah, it's a familiar chime. It's a familiar chime, and my Dodge has a similar. I mean, a different one too. It's got its own kind of thing. But yeah, when I was a yard switcher and everything, we had, like I said, we had that airbag system, and you could pump it up, and it would pump up in just a few seconds. I mean, you'd hit they had a little toggle switch, and what they did back then, this is like I said, this is before OSHA was really tough on things. They would just cut down a B model Mac and cut the frame and and shorten the frame so we could back up to these trailers, and we could reach through. They'd cut out the back glass, and we could reach through and hit the handshake. And back then, the handshakes were in the middle. Not now; they're all mostly over to the left side. But we could hook the handshake to the trailer, hit the button, have that thing up and going in just a few seconds. I mean seconds. Nowadays, of course, they don't preach them to be as fast as we were. Back then, they wanted us to move those things as fast as we could, and we'd put those big bad boys in gear and we'd take off and go. Of course, they'd tell us if it was a head loaded heavy or be careful pulling it out and all that sort of stuff. But they generally said get it and go. They wanted move it from 54 hole down to 36, or you know move from door 10 up to 110. I mean, Carolina Freight had a lot of doors. We had two terminals down there. We had a northbound terminal and a southbound terminal, and so everything going north to Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, wherever in the Northeast that Carolina Freight was going back then, we would load that over at the northbound terminal. They had about 100, I think about 100 holes over there we had to back trailers in, and then it's southbound. We would have I think it is equal amount or not more over at the southbound terminal. And anyway, to make my point on it, these airbag systems were so loud. It's like a tire changer. And as soon as we'd pump it up, it wasn't loud going up, but as soon as we released it to let all the air out, they wanted it dropped fairly quick. So it was like a tire changer, and it go like that, great big, just like a tire changer. And you do that about 100 times a night or more, and your ear is right behind where that airbag is. I mean, you're right in front of it. It's right behind you, and I didn't realize it was taking its toll on me so bad until as I got older, when I got into my 40s and 50s, my wife was always say, "Well, you got the TV up so loud and all that sort of stuff." And then she finally encouraged me to take a hearing exam about, I guess it's about 7 or 8 years ago, and it may be longer than that, but I'm pretty sure it's about 7 or 8 years ago. And I went over and I took one of these free clinic tests. Oh, this is a waste of my time. I said I passed that flying colors. Well, they had her sit behind me, and she was sitting in a chair, and they gave her a list of words, and for her to read them to me, and I was sitting with my back to her, and I answered the words. I said, shoot, I knocked that out. What good is this test? And out of about the 40 or 50 words, I missed about half of them. And I'm thinking, well, how in the heck did I miss that? But it would, it would, it would be words that sounded similar, like five and hive, and or door and tor, or different. They knew what words that a lot of people, when they lose so many frequencies, would miss. And yep, I missed them. So I had to start wearing hearing aids, and it's a big improvement. It really is. I did not realize how much my hearing had lost. Uh, and anybody that's in heavy equipment or stuff like that, you'll lose a considerable amount of hearing if you're not careful. So that always wear hearing protection when you're in a loud situation. Even like my Bobcat, uh, I put headphones on. I put the muffed headphones on when I'm using my Bobcat equipment because it's loud. Especially that T300 and being enclosed in it and everything. And my bulldozer, I used to have a couple of big bulldozers, and they were, you know, I had some big Caterpillar engines on them, and yeah, well, I was hard headed too, Matt. I was hard headed, still hard headed, but I'm hard headed, and then I got these hearing aids in here now. Yep, and that's what you get. To get the ringing in your ears, and that's the hearing aids will help alleviate some of that ringing in the ears. And most of you guys, you probably have got that. And that's what tendonitis. It's not a tendonitis or something. I can't remember what they call that. Yep, yeah, you will, Matt. You're young, and I was about your age probably when I was doing all this stuff. I quit as a switcher when I was right before I was 30 years old. I was about 29, 28, 29 years old when I quit that. And I'd been doing it since I was 17. So it took its toll on me, and of course I was a hippie, and I know it's hard to believe, not no hair here, but I was a hippie. I listened to hard rock music. I did everything I could that everybody did and told me not to do like that, and it took its toll on me. And yep, yep. Well, he's 64. Well, I'm six. I'll be 67 next month, in June 28th. I'll be 67. So it's the old saying: if I'd known I was going to live this long, I would have taken better care of myself. And that's exactly that's exactly what happens. I mean, you get out there, and I abused my body like everybody else did. I'm trying to rectify that now, but sometimes it's too late. Thank goodness I did not. I'm not a drinker. I'm not a smoker. Never have been on either account. I'll be 67, like I said, next month. Never tasted a beer in my life. Now, a lot of people said, "Oh, you've tasted beer." Nope, I hadn't. Never tasted a beer. drank a little bit of communion wine, and that's it. But as far as drinking hard liquor or beer or anything, I have never done it. I don't. I got friends that do, and I socialize with people, and we go out places and we have drinks. But uh, yeah, yeah, my wife was accusing me of selective hearing too. Uh, yeah, it's we all can get into hard living and everything else. It's easy to fall into that, but I made some promises to my mother when I was a young boy about never drinking because my grandfather was an alcoholic, and I made some promises to her, and I kept them. Mother passed away back in February, and I kept that vow to this day. I don't have any intent to ever drink anyway, uh, but uh, it's just one of those things. And the smoking part, I just never did see I just never saw the benefit of smoking. So and I knew the bad parts about it, and being around equipment and everything else, I've inhaled enough fumes that I don't need anything else in my lungs. So I just don't smoke, and I don't suggest that to anybody. And of course, I was fortunate. Uh, I didn't grow up in a smoking family. My mother didn't smoke or drink, and my dad did not smoke after he quit it. He had a cigar habit until I was probably. Dad was in his 30s. I can't remember exactly when he quit, but he was probably in his early 30s when he put down his and but he put that down, and I probably wished. Oops, lost my light. Hey, I lost my light again, guys. Let me turn on the switch here. Yeah, I guess I had to put the chimes and the charm back on. I lost my light. Timed out. Yeah. Well, that's right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That time. Yep. Yep. The lights timed out on me. Yeah. They were thinking, well, you should be in your house by now. That's what the lights were telling me more or less. But uh, that's life. I think a lot of guys out here where, we all have our situations. Uh, oh, at age 39. Wow. Yeah, I had an uncle that was a heavy smoker that died at age 39 of a heart attack. And but he was a heavy smoker, and that's what the doctor said. I mean, basically, and I have a brother-in-law that's an orthopedic surgeon, and he tells me, and he does a lot of these reattaching of fingers, uh, and he says, and he'll tell somebody if they're a smoker, he said if I reattach this finger and you continue to smoke, the finger will probably fall out or fall off. He said, you've got to let these veins and capillaries and arteries and everything, uh, they've got to be able to heal, and you're restricting them. And he said he can actually look at the cross section of somebody's fingers that's uh, been cut off, and look at the cross section of it, and he can tell you almost 90% of the time if that person's a smoker or not. He said because a smoker's veins and uh, arteries are so restricted that it's just dominant even through your extremities like your fingers and your toes and everything. And he said if most people could realize how much that smoking does to your veins and arteries, he says it's quite evident why people have heart attacks, uh, because every puff they have, every smoke they make, they're actually restricting the blood flow in their body. And he said that's why more people that have are smokers have higher blood pressure and everything else. He said it's common sense. Take a hose pipe, start squeezing your finger around it. The blood flow gets faster, or the water flow gets faster if it's a hose pipe, gets faster, and as you restrict it, so that's more pressure. You're putting more pressure on it, so the pressure makes it stream faster. So when it streams faster, that means your heart rate goes up, all kind of stuff. So it's and when you look at it in those terms, it's common sense. It is common sense. So, you know, that's my health topic for tonight, I guess. And because I want everybody to live as long as they can. I want to live as long as I can. I want everybody to live healthy as long as they can. And especially my newfound friends on YouTube, the ones I chat with and everything. I feel like I've become buddies with everybody, and I really enjoy chatting with everybody. And that being said, I probably ought to get off, let y'all go about what y'all are doing. Y'all probably tired of me rambling on, and my light's going to time out again, like JC's going to tell you. So I'll have to turn the light on again. So before the light turns off, I'm going to just go ahead and say bye to everybody. Enjoy chatting again. I enjoy everybody coming into this little community that we have, and I hope we get more. And I know I enjoy it too, man. I really do. I told my wife. I said I especially you know I feel like I'm getting some free advice